videos are on our YouTube channel, and I will drop the link. We'll drop the link to the channel so you can go there and see all the previous sessions that we have had and basically follow through from your end. So today we'll be having one of our community leads, Babatunde Akonde. He's going to run us through the session for today. He is very vast with Power Apps, and I look forward to today's session with much enthusiasm, and so should every other person. So Tunde, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Queen. Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a great week, and I hope working from home has been also going well as well. So today we're going to be discussing about model-driven apps. So previously, I think in the last about 3 to 4 sessions, we've been talking around Power Apps, so which is one of the applications available on the Power Platform. So I think as the session continues, we are still going to be talking about other Power Platform applications like Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, Power BI, and the like. So for now, we are still on Power Apps. So I think in the last session we talked about, I think the last 2 sessions actually talked about common data service. We've talked about the building a Canvas app, which we had a scenario of creating a device ordering application whereby a user can open the app and submit select a particular model of laptop or thereabout that you want, and you can compare the prices, select the model, and check whichever one you feel you prefer, look at the prices and all of that, and then you can then decide to submit it for to your organization. Okay, I'm ordering for this specific device. So today we are still going to be proceeding on that. So we are just going to be having so the applications we've been working on Power Apps so far has been Power Canvas apps. Sorry, just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, so in our last 4 sessions, we've been talking about Power apps, Canvas apps. So today we'll be talking about model-driven apps. So I'm just going to kind of create a scenario so we can kind of understand the essence of using model-driven apps. So for the Canvas apps, as you all know, what we did was, we created an app, did some drag and drop. As you know, we have an interface where you can, insert the icons, insert the label, images, and all of that, the buttons to perform certain actions. Like I always say, Power Apps is more like using a combination of PowerPoint and Excel. So you have your PowerPoint where you can design the app, and you also have the formulas, more like Excel formulas, which you can use to perform certain functions, so that when I select this or when I do this, what should happen. So today now, so this Canvas apps, for example, like the one we have used, the device ordering app, is mostly used by the end users, in the sense that, okay, everybody in the organization wants to order for a particular device, so they look at the available devices and submit the order and all of that. But this is actually going somewhere. All this information we are submitting goes somewhere, which we've also talked about in one of the last sessions, which we created the common data service, which was our data source in this case, where every of the information you've submitted, goes into. So after submission, then there is something else that should happen after that. So after your submission, there maybe the procurement department of the organization or something needs to carry out some processes which you might not be aware of. In this case, all you are doing is after I've ordered my device, all I just need to do is I need to get the device. So when the device is ready, I just get the device, or I get notification, okay, my device is ready for pickup and all of that. But behind the scene, there are certain processes that are actually, going on. So one of these processes will be carried out by, in this case, the procurement team. In another scenario, it could be maybe the HR or any other department, maybe the IT team and all of that. But in this case, we are assuming it's the procurement team because they are the one who will procure the laptop, and it needs to go through approval from for certain reasons and all of that. Then when they also maybe give the supplier's name, who is going to supply this item and all of that. Then it comes back, all you just get is you are getting it. So this model-driven apps now is what this procurement team, in this case, will be interfacing with. So that will be the app they will be really interfacing with, where they can then, carry out all of their home processes, which is, okay, when I submit, when a user submits the request, they go there, they see the request that, okay, so person has submitted a particular request for this item. So when it's submitted, then what do I need to do next? We need to place the order. We need to give a supplier that needs to provide it. We need to also confirm if it has been approved. When it has been done, we also need to confirm that, okay, this device has been delivered and all of that. So which is what we are going to be looking at today. So I'm just going to be sharing my screen now. So I'm not just talking in Arabic. I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Thanks.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, please kindly let me know when you can see my screen.
We can.
Okay, great. So you can see this is the app that was created initially, where we can place our order, we can compare devices, select whichever one we want to order and all of that, and then place down order and submit the device requests. So today we are going to be creating another app. So we are going to be creating a model-driven app. So we can see that we have Canvas and model-driven. So this is going to be model-driven apps. So we also give it a name. So we are saying device procurement. Okay, let's just give it model-driven. So just to distinguish between the two. So if there's any need, you can also change this and all of that. So you give it a name and all of that. You can also give it a description just to describe what this app is used for. Okay, so that is created. So on model-driven apps, there are a couple of things that needs to also be set up like the site map. So model-driven apps are actually a bit more complex than Canvas apps, in the sense that they actually have more features, but also they also have there are a lot of things tied to a model-driven app. So on Canvas apps, all you just do is you create your form, you create the screens you want, you add all the controls that you want, you add all the formulas and all of that. But as for model-driven apps, there are a lot of things that are also involved, like the sitemap, the dashboard, business process flows, and all of that. So I think we also touched a bit on business process flow in um, one of the previous sessions. So the sitemap, for example, now it provides the application, the navigation. So we are going to be starting with the sitemap here. So we are going to be editing the sitemap. Okay. So this let's rename this. So for example, this is going to be managed by we call them the back office. So the back office are the people that are maybe the procurement team, which means when like I explained earlier, when the user submits the request, there are certain people that need to manage manage all the information that was submitted and process it. So this okay. Call it back office. So we are going to see where all this is applicable very soon. So the ID, like I said, is used for navigation. So we are just going to be, just for consistency's sake, back office. Okay. Then new group. So the group is, we want to make it the orders, like different orders that were placed. So this is, okay, might not make much sense now, but we'll see where this is applicable very soon, like I said. Let's say these are orders, right? Oh, sorry. We also give this now orders, right? Then let's call this device orders. So in this case, there might be different kind of orders that you are managing from this area. So which is why we are trying to kind of segment this. So our entities, if you recall from our previous sessions, we talked about entities, which are more like tables. Like if you are very conversant with databases, more like your tables, or if you are using SharePoint list, more like your SharePoint list that contains your list of columns and all of that. So we have a device order entity here. So we are going to be using that. And also call this navigate device. So that is fine. We can save and close this, right? So I think we are done with our sitemap. Yes, so we can also save this as well. Then we publish. Okay, so that is that's about the sitemap. So one thing again we now need to do is because we need to, like I said, there are certain processes that needs to go on. So we need to kind of have some fields to capture, just like when you are creating, if you are familiar with creating business processes before now, you know that, okay, when you are creating a particular business process, you have to kind of capture the stage. You need to maybe validate some certain conditions and all of that. So, for example, in this case, we want to assume that, so you can see that we have devices with different price range. So in this case, we have some that are above $1,000, some below that, and all of that. So we want to say maybe when it's beyond a certain amount, it should go through some levels of approval. So here now, one of the things we need to do is, so if you go back to our apps and go to entities, so as you know, we are dealing with the our device order entities, right? So we want to create, okay. So if I go here, so like, okay, for the sake of time, so I have some of most of these fields that we're going to be using are created already. So I believe from the last sessions, and if peradventure we weren't around for the last the previous two sessions or thereabout, we explained how to add fields to device order. So like I said, the entities are more like tables in your database or columns on your SharePoint list. So you can also add different they are like lists. So you can add columns to that your list, or maybe add columns to your database. So like this now, this is a particular entity. So we've created, in some of our previous sessions, we've created most of these fields already that we are going to be needing. If you can recall, we have created the approval status, the dates, the comments, and all of those information we are going to be needing. So one of the fields we are going to be needing, which was already created, is capital approved. So this is to so just in case you want to create this, it's just a matter of clicking on add field, select what the data type you want and all of that, then add the display name, set is if it's required or optional and all of that. And if you want to make it a calculated column based on certain conditions, you can always do that as well. So this capital approved is to confirm if this has gone through approval. So in this case, we'll be assuming that when the amount is more than $1,000, then it probably needs to go through some certain approval. So this is just to confirm that this capital has been approved. So we are using more like a yes or no column if you are familiar with SharePoint. So in CDS, they are called two options. So two options is more like a yes or no field. So of course you have just either true or false or yes or no and all of that. So created the capital approved, so which is what we have here. We also created another one. So very soon we'll be seeing the reason why we are creating all of this. So we also have a send survey as well. So maybe after the process has been completed as well, maybe you need to send a survey to whoever you delivered the device to, just to get their feedback if there is any issue or thereabout with the device and all of that. So there are certain other ones we are also going to be creating, which are also created already. So so we have the device received. So device received. So this is going to help us track certain things, like if the device has been received, when it has been delivered. So all of these are just yes or no options. So all of this is going to actually make sense very soon. So we have when the device is received, if it has been received or no. We have device configured as well. So all of these fields were created already just to kind of save time, so we don't spend more time creating because I believe everybody should be able to already create a field on the CDS. So we have this, I showed send survey the other time. We also have device delivered as well. And we also have the supplier order ID. So this supplier order ID is to, maybe we have different suppliers that supplies different kind of devices for the organization, maybe different vendors. So this is just to kind of impute who supply this. Maybe you have an ID for each of your suppliers and all of that. So this will allow the back office people to, add all of this. So once you are done with adding all of the fields, so for example, I had a particular field and I say done. So you can see that I have the option to save entity. So this means I want to save every of the changes I've made. Maybe I've added different fields and all of that. So I want to save, so you can see that I have this, which is the one I just created. So if I want to save it, I click on save entity. But because this has been created already, I'll just discard what I have here. So now the next thing we need to do is to create our business process flow. So like I said, this is going to go through some levels of approval. So in CDS, there is something called business process flows. So this is to kind of maintain a particular set of actions. So let's say for every kind of request, there are certain kind of action. Maybe you have, let me give an example of a leave request now. You have certain things that needs to be done, like a manager needs to approve. When you submit, the manager needs to approve. Maybe it needs to go to the HR. So most of these processes are always unique based on different organizations. So depending on the organization you are also creating the app for, so you might need to kind of customize how the flow is going to be. So business process flow is one of the things that we are going to also be using in this model-driven app, such that it will help the back office staff, like I mentioned, to maintain a particular flow, to keep updating the record to say, okay, this has gotten to this stage now. This has gotten to this stage now. Okay, this device has now been received. It is now being processed. Okay, we have placed an order. Okay, we have given this device back to, we have distributed the device back to the requester. You understand? So that's what our business process flow will be helping us with today. So here, I'm going to be going to, yeah, so this is the CDS that I already created. So for example, now, let's say you want to add a business process flow to a particular solution. So what you need to do here first is you need to enable the business process flow. So this will allow you to first be able to add a business process flow to this. So to do that, we are going to be switching to the classic experience. So we need to first enable that. So there's an option to check to enable our business process flow for a particular entity. So in this case, which is our device orders. So we are using our entities, which is device order. We want to allow business process flow for that. So this has been enabled already. So in any case, one thing you should notice, you must be sure you want to enable this business process flow for any entity, because I think once you check it, you can see that it is grayed out. I doubt if there is a way to, change this. So you must kind of have defined your process and all of that before you enable this. So once you come to this device, so if this wasn't enabled already, I would have just checked this box and then enable it and, save and publish this. So in this case, it has been enabled already. So once I do that, what I'll just do is to say, publish all customization, which means every of the changes I've made to the entity and all of that, I can then publish that. So the next thing now is, since we have enabled our entity to allow business process flow, we now need to go ahead and create our business process flow. So I'm sure some of us are also familiar with Power Automate, which used to be called Microsoft Flow. So our business process flow is still something similar around Microsoft Flow or the Power Automate as well, in the sense that it's also some set of processes that are also trying to, carry out some automation on. So if you come to flow.microsoft.com, which will bring you to the list of your flows and all of that. So there is this that shows you business process flow. So you can see my flows. So my flows are the Power Automate that I've created. The team flows are also the ones I've shared with users in my organization. Then we have business process flow. In this case, we'll be creating a business process flow. There's also UI flow as well, which you can use to do some kind of RPA, which is robotic process automation and all of that. So, but today we are focusing on the business process flow. So we are going to be creating a new business process flow. So let's say we say device procurement process demo. So it gives us this name, just like when you are creating your entity. When you are creating a field in your entity. So the entity we want to use is our device order. And we say create. So you can see that this interface is similar to when you are also creating a Power Automate that either maybe connects to your SharePoint or any other data source, where you can say you select your data source, select the name and all of that. So this is now our business process flow. I think in one of the sessions as well, we also discussed a bit around this business process flow. So here we have our device procurement process. So this is where we will now define, okay, when a particular user submits a request, what are the things that needs to now be done by the back office staff or the procurement team who needs to do every of this process. So one of the things we need to do here is, so we need to say, okay, so for example, at each stage, they also need to be making certain updates, right? So which means, okay, when a particular request is submitted, they also need to confirm, okay, if the device has been submitted, if the device has been the order has been placed for the device, if it has been approved, or if it needs to go through any form of approval and it has been approved. If so, all of those conditions are what we are going to be designing here. So we have our device order. So one of the things we need to first say here is, so the first step obviously is that the device has been requested. So we want to say, okay, the device has been requested. So we have so this is a stage. So in business process flow, we have stage, just like we also have actions, different actions on Power Automate, if you are familiar with that. Just saying we can add actions to say, yes, on this action, I want this to happen, then go to this next action. Then you can also have conditions whereby you say, if this condition, then do this and all of that. So here now, we have our, this is the device order. So we want to call this device requested. So just to requested. So which is obviously the first stage. So once we are done, we apply. So this is just to track to say, okay, this is the stage at which the device has been requested. So what are the things we need to also track here? I hope everybody can see me. Or does anybody have any questions so far?
We can hear you and we can also see your screen.
All right. Just to be sure. Thanks. All right. So so here we want to get the request date. So the request date. So we have the so if you remember, one of the fields we've created on our entity the other time was request dates, just to track what date this request was made and all of that. So we have that as our first step. So here we can also add another step. So we also want to add the approval status. Okay, so we have add here. So we can see we can add stage, condition, and all of that. We are still adding another step here. So we'll call these our approval status. So don't worry if all of this is not making sense yet. I'm sure it will very soon. Status. Right. Okay. Start being applied. Okay, that's been applied. We also have our so when we get to the part where all of these business processes are being used, it's actually more in a graphical format where we'll see how all of this kind of applies. So this is the first stage, like you said. So on business process flow, it's more like when you are using your Power Automate as well, or in a real life scenario, you have stages to each action. So when you have a particular workflow or a business process, so you have certain steps, certain things that need to happen before it proceeds to the next stage and all of that. So for example, when the device is requested, we need all of this information first. Then, so if you remember, we also have from the previous one, I think we added some sort of business process which was kind of connected to the entity. So that we also apply here. So here now we also need to add another stage. So we are going to be adding a new stage here. So which means after the device has been requested, we also need to have another stage. So which is going to be like getting the estimated shipping date. So for example, when the request has been placed, the back office staff checks all of the information and gives our the date the request is supposed to be delivered based on maybe certain criteria or something within the organization. So we have okay, so I think we created a business process flow for this already, so which I think adds maybe 14 days or so, if I can recall. Oh, sorry, estimated shipping date.
Yes, we created a condition previously. So
Yeah,
immediately it has been approved, it will add 14 days.
14 days. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So that's what we are actually also referencing here. So just in case you missed any of the previous uh, sessions, and this is not making sense to you, I'll advise you kind of check out the videos. I think they're already available, so you can check them out to kind of have a better understanding of that. So besides the estimated shipping dates, I also want to add I also want to get the supplier order ID. So if you remember, I already created a particular field on the CDS, which is called supplier order ID. So this will now be used to, track who is the supplier, like who supplied this particular item. So all of this information will be entered by this procurement team in this case, whereby they can supply they can provide all of this information because they are the one who will be carrying out all of these processes. So we have the supplier ID. So I think that is that. Then we also have another stage. Okay. So this is the stage that will help us know if the order has been placed. Okay, I think this is actually okay. So this is the part that helps us know, okay, this order has been placed. So I'm actually trying to rename all of these steps so anybody that sees this kind of understands what is happening at each stage. So we have when the device has been requested, when the order has been placed. So when the order has been placed, when you are placing the order, the estimated shipping date, and whoever is also supplying the supplier's ID. So which means there must have been an ID maybe somewhere that already shows the ID of every of the suppliers. So whoever is processing the request just enters that. So after the order has been placed and all of that, we also need to have a new stage to say receive device. So save device. Okay. So at the stage of receiving the device, you remember, like one of the entities which I said was already created was device received, which is a 2-option field, like a yes or no. So this is just to confirm that, okay, the device has been received or not. So we select device received here as well. Okay, so after that the device has been received, we also want to know if the device has been configured properly. So in this case, since we are using a laptop, so we want to know maybe there are certain things that needs to be installed and all of that. There are certain configuration that needs to be done. So we also need to track that. So all of this information will also be imputed by whoever is managing this. So after the device has been received, so the next thing the back office person needs to now do is to say, sorry, that should be another stage. So another stage here will be distribute device. So which means when the device has been received, the person needs to distribute the device to whoever requested for it. right? Okay, so we have a step called device delivered. So device delivered. Then we have send survey. So you can remember that these are all fields that has been created on our CDS. So this all of this will be used to. So when as the process is, for example, when the request is submitted, the person checks the uh, request date, the price, approval status, then the estimated shipping dates. It also enters that, okay, it has got to this stage. It goes to the next stage. If the order has been received, the device that was received, and if it has also been configured, and the final stage, which is which should be device delivered. I thought I entered that earlier. Okay, I guess I forgot to apply that. Okay, so we have all of this. So, okay, one thing again is this. So in a case where, like I mentioned, we have a particular condition to say if this device is more than a particular amount, just like maybe in our different organization, we have a form of policy that says if this, maybe you are requesting for, maybe it's an expense request or something like that, where you have a particular um, policy that says if this whatever amount you are requesting for is within this certain range, then it goes through these levels of approval. But if it's beyond a particular range, then maybe the number of approvals might increase. Maybe it needs to get to the CFO or it needs to get to the manager and all of that. So we are just trying to also replicate a kind of condition like that here. So in this case, we'll be having a condition to say when the price is more than $1,000, then it should be, maybe you should go through a particular approval. There should be a certain action or thereabout that should happen, right? So we are going to have that now. So in this case, why we are adding all of this, we also had the option to add a condition. So we are going to be adding that condition here. So we can call it check price. So this means check the prices if it's beyond or within a certain range. So look for our price. Price maybe is greater than 1,000. Right. So that's our condition to say when this is greater than 1,000, then we have another stage. Okay, so let's apply this.
Hello, Tunde.
Hello.
Hello, Tunde. We can't hear you anymore. Is it my connection?
No, it's not yours.
Okay. Let's see what happened. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to reach him on his mobile. Ibrahim,
Alright.
can you pause the recording, please? Okay, it seems it's his connection. She's trying to reconnect now. Please
Okay.
give us a few minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, moderator. Please, can we get the YouTube link for people that didn't attend the last class?
Yes. I'm compiling all of the links since when we started. So, Eminka, are you on Telegram or Kaizela?
Oh no, I'm on WhatsApp.
No, I mean our group. You're joining us from the Twitter
Yeah, I just saw the advert, so that's why.
on okay. I'll also post it on Twitter.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
I don't think you can just post the Telegram group somewhere. I don't know. There's a chat or something like that.
Yes, I will do that.
I
do
have
Thank you.
Telegram and Casella, but I don't have any of this group there. So it should be great to have the link too.
Yes. I will drop basically drop it. We will drop it everywhere on all our channels. And then we can also, I don't know, would also invite, put the links to join the groups. Also, I'll just drop it on Twitter.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, because the chat box is grayed out. That's why I'm not joining with the account that was invited, so I can't chat.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
fine. No
but
problem.
I'll drop it everywhere. Tunde, are you back?
Okay.
Yes. So sorry about that. Internet issues.
Zora, we can understand.
Uh, I'm trying to reshare my screen. Can anyone see my screen?
Not yet. I think it's loading.
It's not up yet.
Oh.
At my end, I'm not seeing it yet. But I think it's coming.
Yeah, I think it's loading up or something.
Is it loaded yet? So,
Okay, so it seems that Tunde's connection got disconnected again, and it's 2 minutes to 7. So I think what we'll do is we'll continue from here next week. Let's continue from here next week. We'll upload this video to our YouTube channel, and I'm compiling all the links, so I'll compile everything and share, so we can hopefully catch up over the holidays, and then when we come next week Saturday, we'll take it up from here. So I don't know if we have any questions based on what he has covered. If we do, you can just hold on to those questions, and Tunde will take it on next week, either before or after his class. I think that's the way to go. Hello, Tunde.
yeah, hello.
Yes, I was just saying that I think we should continue from here next week.
Okay.
Yes, because it's 7 p.m. already, and we're committed to sticking to 1 hour, so we don't take too much of people's time. So, but since you are back online, I don't know if anyone has any question concerning what we've done today. If you have any questions, you can please ask. If there are no questions yet, maybe when we practice it. Maybe when we practice what we have done so far, then we'll be able to have some questions to ask next week.
So I'm sorry, quickly have a question.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay, I'll just make it brief. I joined a bit late. I'm a new member of this committee. I joined today. I don't know, maybe there were a series of trainings or tutorial that maybe start with the newbies. So like I know, okay, where do we really start? Is there anything like overview of power apps and then all those progressive training up to this point that we have now? Do we have documentary of those things, and how can we make them available in that order?
Okay, thank you, Olaiwaju, for your question. So what we did was, our approach is to take a use case, a common use case, and then build around that. And that's what we've been doing for the past, in 4 to 5 weeks now. We started building the app together from the beginning, click here to create a new screen, and that's how we've been progressing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile the links to all the videos and the Excel data source, so you can watch them at your own time, and then you can also practice. If you have an Office 365 account, you can make use of that to do your practice work. If you don't, We also have a document that talks about how to create a trial account. And we also have the other option of creating a dev account. So, and you can also create a community account. So I think I will also include that in the message I'm going to broadcast. I'll broadcast it this evening. So I'm going to put it on Telegram group, on Kaizala group. I'll put it on my on Twitter also. So you can follow me my handle is Foyinb, Foyinb. So you'll see all of the information there, and then you can start from there.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, Foyin. Sorry, Foyin.
Yes, please.
Okay, so in addition to what you've just said, you can also visit Microsoft Learn to start with fundamentals of Power Platform if we need. So with Microsoft Learn, you will also get the fundamental
okay, maybe I just added that it is only Power BI that is on Microsoft Learn now, aside other Office packages. I can't find
everything is on Microsoft Learn. Everything is on Microsoft Learn. Everything. So everything that you need to do, anything about Microsoft, any of the softwares that you want to learn, every of the technologies, everything is there. You can learn everything on Microsoft Learn.
All right. Yes, that's also a very valid point. Thank you, Jumoke and David. So Microsoft Learn, I would include, there's a shortcut that we usually use, aka.ms/powerup. I'll include that too. So you can also start from there.
Okay, just to add a bit to that. So the Microsoft Learn, I think, is now available on the Power Apps interface. So if you go to make.powerapps.com from your environment, there's a part from that homepage that shows you Learn for every level. So when you select, like, it has get started with Power Apps and all of that, it takes you to Microsoft Learn. So you can see, just in case you're unable to find it on your Microsoft Learn, so from your Power Apps, there's a link from there where you open the powerapps.com that shows you some links to the Microsoft Learn as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can see my screen, you see it here. Learning for every level. Learning for every level. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, this is what Sunday is describing. So all of this takes you directly into Microsoft Learn.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, great.
All right. Okay. Okay, all right. Yes, so all right, thank you everyone for your time. We will share the video once it's ready. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of the weekend. See you guys next week.
You too, bye.
Bye.